This episode is proudly sponsored by Main Street Magazine. Mary, today is a very special episode for you.
It is a special episode, and I have to admit, I have used the privilege of this office of podcast co-host to suggest that my daughter be a guest on this show.
Yes.
You've known her for many years. I've known
I
her
have.
her whole life. And her name is Olivia May, and she is a wonderful person. But the reason why I thought she was eligible for Moxie is because she took the straight and narrow path of college into a banking job, which she did for 3 years and liked and did well at, and then decided to leave that security and head to Chicago to pursue her dream of stand-up comedy, something she's been doing as an out-of-work pursuit for the past couple of years. So I thought that hearing her experience in walking away from security and how to take a calculated risk and how to build on something that was a hobby or a pastime into something that she's giving a try would be beneficial to listeners.
It certainly took a lot of moxie. So let's dive in.
So Olivia, welcome to Main Street Moxie.
Thank you.
So I think there's something we need to get out of the way.
What would that be?
That you are a Nepod baby.
Yes, I am indeed.
And you are my daughter.
Yeah.
And which doesn't make your Moxie any less valid. So so we're just going to get started.
Perfect.
You know the first question because you've listened to these episodes, not because it made you, but because you wanted to.
Yes.
How do you define Moxie?
So I think Moxie would kind of be a determination or a spirit, or I think it's really not letting fear determine whether you're going to try something or how good you're going to be at that thing, if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
And how might you see that definition working in your own life these days?
Well, for start, since moving to Chicago, I've been trying improv, which I haven't really done that much before. I've been mostly just doing stand-up, and improv is very, in my opinion, very different. And for me, a lot harder. It's like flexing a muscle that I haven't flexed since I was like a child, using your imagination and putting yourself out there in that way is like, it feels like there's a lot of opportunity for embarrassment and for it not to go well. But I think the Moxie part of it is like, I don't want to let that fear of like being judged or like not doing well, let me not be good at it, or make me hold back from trying my best at it, even though there is opportunity for embarrassment or for failure or for people not thinking you're funny. And so, yeah, I think it's just kind of like the attitude, and it's hard in practice sometimes to actually do it, but going in with the mindset of, I'm not gonna hold back because I'm afraid of what other people are gonna think kind of feeling.
So I find comedy to be wildly entertaining, but it scares the bejesus out of me as a thought of me going up on stage. How did it come about for you? And I mean, just to get up there the first time takes so much courage. So I'd love to hear like how you even got into it and got to where you are today and living the dream, essentially.
Sure. Well, I've always loved telling stories and like trying to think of the funniest way to tell a story, even like in like middle school or like, on the bus, something happens and trying to figure out the best way to tell other people about it.
Right.
Get the most laughs or be the most like compelling. And then kind of during COVID, I mean, everyone was at home for a long time. And I started thinking about, because I've had friends who have started doing stand-up, like what it would look like if I did it. And then post-COVID, I was in New York City for a few months and just started going to mics, and I went to the first one with my friend, and then I started going more and more, and I really liked it, and it was very scary, but I was enjoying it, and I was enjoying like going to a mic, trying something, tweaking it, trying it again, seeing if that got a better response. And it appealed to that kind of part of my brain of trying to make something better, or like collecting, not even data, collecting information and then tweaking it and seeing if that would get a better response was, to me, a lot of fun.
But then you kept going.
Yes.
I mean, because you didn't just go from an open mic doing a minute sketch or whatever it's called piece to now doing stand-up. So what were some of those intermediary stops along the route?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, it really is. I mean, some people take a stand-up class and to get into it, but otherwise it really is just you decide you're going to do it and you do it. And so generally, I mean, there was a little bit of forward thinking, like trying to figure out what a mic requires, how many minutes I would have to do, that sort of thing. So generally, if you're going to try it, it's normally like a 3 to 5 minute spot, and you don't have to do the whole time. So you can go in with however much you have and just give it a shot. But yeah, it was really just a decision to give it a try. And then you keep going, you try out different mics, you find your style and build upon what you have. So if you do enough mic, you build up the number of minutes you have. And then from there, you start networking with other comedians. If you're doing well and they like what you do at mics, you might be asked to be on a show. And that's sort of how it builds on itself in that way.
Fast forward a little bit. You started a corporate job in banking and moved to North Carolina, to Charlotte.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about the Moxie of, I mean, I was kind of on that journey with you as you research from your bed, how to move to a city you've never been to. And you kind of did it sight unseen. You did have the stability of a job.
Right.
But you launched yourself into the comedy community down there. Can you talk about what it was like to move to a new place and launch into the comedy scene and host your own show down there?
Sure. Yeah. So I had started doing comedy in New York, and then the offices opened back up. So I was called down to Charlotte, which is where my job was, because I had started remote and wanted to continue with comedy. The way it works is every city or every scene has usually a Facebook page that you can find, and they have information about what nights mics are, like what shows are happening. And then you know when and where to show up for a mic. And then from there, again, you just you have to throw yourself into it and you start meeting other people that way. And I think social media I don't even know how people used to do it, but Facebook and social media is a great thing because you can just search like Charlotte comedy scene and there'll be a Facebook page. And normally I don't know, the Good Samaritans of comedy usually have made a Google document that's accessible to anyone that just lists by day, like all the mics and all the different things that are happening in the comedy community.
Wow.
So that's a cool thing that people do that makes it really easy to find out what's happening and how to jump in. So yeah, I moved down there and started going to the mics there. And then again, you just start meeting people because especially in Charlotte, it's such a small scene. From one mic to the next, it's probably like 70% the same people. So you start seeing the same people regularly, and you start figuring out who's hosting what. And then from there, yeah, again, you start getting booked. Or
let's get this out there. You historically have been while you have this creative side that I wasn't fully aware of, your quantitative side was always the way I thought about you. You know, when you were at Millbrook, you were in the math classes, you're an econ major from William and Mary, you studied at London School of Economics, you're a numbers person.
Right.
And you applied that, I feel, to creating this show and kind of being the business person as well as the MC and a comic. Can you talk about creating that show at Petty Thieves Brewery in Charlotte?
Yeah. So I think that came from, at that point I had probably been doing stand-up for a year plus and felt like I kind of wanted some creative control over a show because unless you're hosting your own show, you're kind of at the will of other people to book you. And you might be like, you just don't have any determination of who else is on the lineup and that sort of thing. And I kind of wanted to see what it was like hosting, because that's also a completely different kind of skill set than just being the comedian on the show. Like being the host is something else that I wanted to practice and to try. And the easiest way to do that was to host your own show. So I approached a brewery that I had gone to regularly just for fun. And I noticed that they didn't have a comedy night or anything in their schedule of events. So I approached the manager at the bar and just asked if that was something that they'd be interested in partnering up for. And they said yes. And we got the first show on the books. And it kind of depends on the agreement you have with the bar or what you want to do with it, whether you want it to be a free show or a paid show or a ticketed show. But yeah, I started booking the shows and selling the tickets, and it was a lot of fun. It was one of the things that I'm like most proud of my time in Charlotte, was starting that show and keeping it going. And it was a lot of fun. I met a lot of great comedians, and yeah, I had a great time doing it. And I think eventually in Chicago, I'd like to start a show again.
So what is the process when you started? You just kind of sign up at a location to do it, but then, do certain people have some sort of representation, or is it just like a solo person? You're your own person, you're your own marketing, PR, everything. Like, how does that work? Because to me, that seems like the self-promotion and, first of all, putting together to get up there, putting together your show, meaning, your script or whatever it's called to present. But then it seems like there's a lot of backroom things too. And all that takes a lot of courage in many facilities. And you're really, in more ways than one, putting yourself out there.
Right.
So how did that impact you? Did you ever, falter at any point with that? Or is it like when you went to your first show, did you see other people presenting and you're like, I could do that?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like, I think I have felt this way at my bank job too. Like, whenever I ran into something where I didn't know what to do, the thing that always helped was knowing, like, I'm not the first person to run into this problem.
Right.
And someone's definitely written about it on the internet and has some solution that worked for them. And also, like, once I started to meet people in the scene, I talked to people about how they hosted their shows and that sort of thing. So I think that's always important to remember, is like, most of the time we're not the first people doing any of these things. And there are lots of people willing to share their experiences and their information. And if they're not willing, that's kind of weird.
That's true.
Yeah, it was just kind of trial and error of what worked best in terms of advertising and choosing different people, because obviously different comedians have different voices and different styles of comedy, and just trying to figure a way to balance it so you have kind of a diverse lineup of different types of people with different types of comedy, which I enjoyed doing. I thought that was a fun part of it. The thing that I noticed that always made me nervous is people love to buy tickets last minute. So it'd be, 4 hours before the show and I've sold like 6 tickets, and I'm worried about, paying the comedians out of pocket, or like feeling bad that the comedians are going to do a show to an empty room. And then the last hour you'd get like all these tickets bought, and you're like, oh, thank God. But every month it was like the same, like I never learned, because you never really know.
Right.
But every month I was like, oh my God, okay, no one's going to be here. And then come show, the room was not empty. Plus I had really great friends who came to a lot of the shows. So that was at least a guaranteed few people, a guaranteed audience.
Yeah, you have to shout out those Charlotte friends.
Yeah,
definitely, because they're going to be most of the people listening to this podcast. And we have to shout out that person in Charlotte who sent you a ticket for the comedy bus on your first weekend.
Shame. That's the other thing about the comedy community, is that it's so small. Like, even across different cities, once you're in the community, you're going to find that when you look up a new comedian or you meet someone new, you're going to have like 30 mutual followers with them, even if you've never met them. So when I was moving down to Charlotte, I was kind of looking up people that I saw in the Facebook group. And this guy, Shane, we had a bunch of mutual followers from when he did some sets in New York. And so I reached out to him and he got me some tickets to the comedy bus, which was very nice of him.
Yes. I remember leaving you when you moved there feeling very good that you had something to do on an afternoon.
Right.
And now, okay, so you worked in banking for 3 years.
Yep.
And you were good at it.
Yeah.
And you were able to do your stand-up at night, so you did have that in your life. You didn't have to give that up.
Right.
What was the catalyst to leaving a very, well, nothing secure, really,
Right.
but a seemingly secure job with good people at a good institution and taking this leap of faith?
Yeah. I mean, I really liked my job, and I learned a lot and enjoyed the people I was working with, like you said. But I did know, I think deep down, that that wasn't my calling. It wasn't my purpose. And when I imagined myself in a year or 5 years, or it wasn't at that job. And that's what I'll say about that. But so, and then I'm at this phase of my life where I'm still on my parents' insurance. Thank you, Mom. And just I don't have a house. I don't have kids. Like my responsibilities are limited.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it felt like a good time to make a change and take a big risk and kind of, and although I was doing comedy and my job, it was a lot to do both. And at the end of a day where you've worked, at your computer all day, do you really want to sit down at your computer during your free time and write? Or if it's between hanging out with friends, do you really want to go to an open mic and sit there for 2 hours to tell your 5 minutes of jokes? And it's like, probably not. You want to do something, because I love stand up, but a lot of it is like very unglamorous. Of you get a 5 minute spot, but sometimes you're sitting there for a few hours and you're listening to lots of things that you've heard like 20 times before. Cause again, the scene is so small. And so I was finding that like, I'm not giving comedy as much as I would like to be giving it, especially at this point in my life. And I was starting to have this like gnawing fear that I would, wake up in 20 years and have never given it a shot and have like a lot of regrets about that. So, and I realized that I'm super privileged to be able to take a step back and say like, I want to give this a try right now. I'm in a position where I'm able to leave a job like this to try something that's very uncertain, and there's a lot of potential risk involved, and it may never turn into something that I want it to be, and it may never lead to like the dream that I have in my head. But I feel like banks will always be there, and
we hope.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, that it was just like the time to give it a shot, and I wanted to live in a bigger city again with better public transportation.
And why Chicago?
I don't know. We as a family visited Chicago when I was like 11, and in the back of my mind, have always thought that it would be a cool place to live. And while I'm not working a steady job, it's cheaper than New York, which factored in. And just wanting to try living in a new place. I've heard great things about Chicago. It's got a great comedy scene, both stand-up and the improv and sketch comedy. So yeah.
And your mother and father met out there.
Yes, that's very important. Yes. Yeah.
So you took some risk, not just leaving a stable, and I'm counting on my fingers, leaving a stable and well-paying job, leaving the city that you had, established yourself in. You went to a brand new place, knew basically no one. And so it's like half a dozen huge things that one of them might scare a person, but you just went full force.
Right.
That's so admirable. What was like the tipping point for you to be like, you know what, that's it. I'm going to do this. Was there one, or was it just a accumulation?
No, I think it was more gradual.
Uh-huh.
And then the timing all lined up. Like I had a relationship end, my lease was up, and the timing felt right. And the kind of feeling in my gut that like, we need to do this. And I don't want it to be too like, because you never know what's going to happen, or things come up and life happens that may prevent me from doing it in the future. I was like, right now we are unencumbered for the large part, and the timing is right. And it was really sad. Like I still have them. I didn't cut them off when I moved. But also like a flight to Charlotte is always there. And
right.
I've had people come visit me already, and I'm planning to go visit that. So it kind of feeling very secure in those friendships as well. These are friends that I think I'll have my whole life. And just because chances are we're not always going to live in the same place as
right.
we, so That was part of it. And I think also I have kind of a high tolerance for starting over new places and meeting people and making friends. And so that part, I was actually talking to my friend the other day because I'm taking this improv class at Second City, and part of their curriculum is every level that you're in, one of the classes is dedicated to musical improv, which was terrifying, and I could go my whole life with never doing that again. But in my head, it's like so weird how people work and their different fears. And because in my head, it felt so much easier to move cities, quit my job, know no one, and come to Chicago than it was like hyping myself up for this musical improv class. And it's like an hour and a half of singing versus uprooting your life. And the hour and a half of singing was by far like so much scarier to me.
How do you come up with your content, like for your shows? What's the inspiration?
Yes, Olivia, how do you come up with that?
Besides mom, of course.
Right. Well, I feel like a lot of people pull from childhood trauma.
Childhoods.
And I famously have a perfect mother. So I kind of have to get creative with my content. But most of my content is anecdotal, like it draws on my own personal experience. I talk about experiences being a woman or dating, work, just things that I have noticed that I also think might be relatable and funny to other people, because I think at the end, that's what makes people laugh, even at things that aren't typically you don't think of as funny, or is that people can see themselves in that joke and say like, oh, I've gone through that and it wasn't funny at the time, but that way of looking at it has humor to it and that sort of thing.
Right. I like that.
So I think we need to make it clear.
Yeah.
That in all the years since 2021, when you started comedy, well, first you never told us for a while.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you told us, and we were absolutely forbidden to see you, hear you. You even told us that you had no video clips online, that no one ever filmed you, which turned out to be a bit of a falsehood. But I did get to see you for the first time last month in Chicago. And I think it was everybody in the room felt that you were the funniest.
Well, thank you.
Not taking away from anybody else. And what was it like to and I remember one of the things you said to me when I was booking the trip and you were uncertain, and you said, this is my identity now. I have to lean into this. I have to stand in this. And so can you talk about that movement from this is my hobby to I am a comedian? Because I saw that on your Instagram now, comedian.
Right. Well, I think, and I always felt bad that you and Dad.
Oh, don't give me this public confession thing.
Well, I did, but it was, I didn't tell anybody for the longest time because it felt like, again, I think it goes back to that fear of being judged of, I'm trying this new thing and I don't want people to know I'm doing it, or like, God forbid, come and see me. Cause what if I'm not funny? And then they know that I'm not funny. And then I didn't tell people at work and quitting my job, that was the scariest part, was having to tell people that I was quitting. But I was like, you're quitting your job to do this. The least you can do is say that that's the reason why.
Right.
Because then it's once everybody knows that it's important to me. And then if I don't reach the highest achievement in comedy, then everyone knows I failed, which is like a bad narrative. But that was the one I was running with of, I don't want people to know, because then if it doesn't go anywhere or I'm ultimately not good at it, I don't want people to know I've even tried kind of deal. And then I started kind of feeling like, okay, maybe I am good at this and I really enjoy it and it's really important to me. But there was still the fear, because I care very much about what my parents think and I want them to enjoy what I'm doing. And I also know that my mom is very good at a lot of things, but she's not good at lying. So if she didn't like it, I was going to know. And I just didn't want that at that point. Knowing that my parents didn't like my comedy would have been devastating, and it still would. But back then I'm like, I don't know if it would have been enough to make me stop, but I just didn't want to take that risk. I was comfortable in like the limbo of, I'm sure they'd like it because they're supportive and great parents, but there was a chance that they wouldn't. And so I wasn't comfortable or secure enough in my own like comedy at that point to kind of take that on. And then I kind of got to the point where it was like, I don't want their first time seeing it to be a tape. Like I'd like them to come see it in person. And then there was the whole, my mom and dad have always been they've drilled it into our heads that like, once it's out there, it's out there. And, you know, you can't take something back once it's on the internet. And there are certain things that I say
That is true.
in my set that probably a lot of people wouldn't be comfortable with other people knowing about them or posting it on the internet. And before my mom came, I was like, I'm happy you're coming. I want you to see this, but like, just know I've done the cost benefit analysis in my head of saying these things out loud and having people know them and having them recorded and having them potentially put on the internet. And while you probably would not make the choice that I've made to be comfortable with that, like I've made that decision. And so I want you to come. If you don't like it, I don't want you to say anything, but yeah. And it was such a relief to kind of have that done and not have them feel like I'm keeping such an important part of my life, like gatekeeping it from them. But yeah, it was fun. And it was nice having my mom there and it went
And
well.
you are forgiven.
Yes, thank you.
Was it like almost easier to put yourself out there in front of strangers than people you knew? Like the fear of failure or whatever you may call it, that it was like, oh, it almost didn't matter if it didn't work out in front of them, but having someone like that you actually knew and having them know that this meant something to you, the thought of failure in front of that was, you know, huge.
Yes, absolutely. That's like when I was doing open mics at the beginning, I was going with my one friend, Hannah, who she was also a comedian. So it's like she knows what it's like for a bit not to go well. And there's kind of a solidarity in comedians, like everyone's going to bomb eventually. And so it doesn't feel as big of a deal to do that in front of other comedians or random people. But then it's like when you bring people whose opinion you respect and value into it, and you think that like there's the opportunity that they won't like it or that you do poorly that night. And if they don't see you regularly, maybe they think that you're just bad at it.
Right.
Like I as much as I like wish it wasn't true, like I care very much what people think about me, especially not everybody, but like the people who are important to me. I don't think that's a bad thing, I guess. It's hard not to let that get in the way. And so I wanted to feel secure in my comedy. And I think moving to Chicago helped with that because I've been here for 3.5 months and I feel like I've kind of made a lot of progress and I have a lot of momentum of like being booked. And so I felt like, well, even if my mom doesn't like it, or even if somebody doesn't like it, I have kind of proof that, well, people do. And I am good at this to some degree because, you know, I'm making progress in the scene and I'm getting booked on things. So even if it's not your style of comedy or you don't love it, I kind of have proof that I'm good at it now, if that makes sense.
So kind of validation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it made it a lot easier to be like, well, even if my mom doesn't like it, at least she knows in the broader sense that I must be good at it to other people because I'm being booked on things and yeah.
This episode is proudly sponsored by Main Street Magazine. Main Street Magazine is a monthly magazine and a website with daily content, and we love to feature people, places, and things that make our community special. To learn more, please visit our website, www.mainstreetmag.com.
Olivia, I can tell you in front of Pod and everyone that I did enjoy it very much. And I thought you were funny. And I'll tell you, I want to hear from you what you think your humor niche is. Where do you differentiate yourself, do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I don't know. I think I have similar styles of comedy to some people, like storytelling and some observational comedy. So in that way, I don't think it's necessarily like completely different. But I think what makes it different is that it's my view and my take on it and my experiences, which are individual and unique.
Okay, my turn.
Okay.
I think your humor shows your intelligence because of the way you look at the situations that you're riffing on, or however you want to phrase it. What I like about it also, it doesn't tear anyone down. It's kind of like, these are the common situations we find ourselves in, and here's the humor that we could find in those situations, or the inconsistencies. And I feel like for this moment where we are today, that kind of humor to me is very appealing, because I don't need anyone else telling me why somebody's different than me. I want to know why we're experiencing this human condition together, and why it can be funny at times.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree on not punching down or tearing anyone down. Yeah, I think that's an important part of my approach to comedy. Yeah, but I think there also is something to be said, and it's something I want to explore more, as using comedy as kind of a political resistance, or to speak to things that are, unjust or unfair, because I think people respond to it better sometimes if it's a comedic take. I think that what you're talking about, though, Mom, is like when people say like things for the shock value, like they'll say something racist or whatever for the shock value of it, and that's never the kind of comedy that I want to do. And I think there's a way to talk about everything, where I'll talk about topics that there's a way to do it where it can be vile, or the shock value of saying something really gross or really sexual or something. But then there's also ways to talk about different things where you're trying to find the relatable bit of all of it, of like, we're talking about sex maybe, but it's not really about that. It's about something else that we may all relate to, in terms of, I don't know if that makes sense. I'm not.
Yeah, it does.
Totally.
But I didn't do any sex jokes in front of my mom.
Yes, and I appreciate that, because I'm a G-rated kind of gal. You had wanted to talk about, Olivia, how you measure success, coming from a very regimented, evaluation-oriented environment in the workplace to this more creative. So, and I think Thorin might have some questions around that, or perspectives, because she lives in that world.
Yeah, I think that was, the thing that I struggled with the most, and I'm still struggling with, is being outside of a structured environment, because I sometimes struggle with like intrinsic motivation, and to do things because eventually they will help me get to my goal. But in like the short term, it's hard to get myself to do some of that. And I've always thrived in like environments where I get grades, or, there are performance kind of metrics. And I've always been really good at meeting those goals and doing things to get good grades, and it's always good. It's always been easy for me to tell when I'm doing well, because I get grades, or when I talk to my manager in our weekly review, or she gives me feedback, or at the end of the year, they want to pay me more. So I must have done well. And then to kind of leave that sort of structure and have to figure out your own way of measuring success, because it's certainly not money right now. And I am very in the red in that sense, for comedy pursuits. But to try to figure out a different way to realize if you're meeting your standards or your goals. And that's been a struggle, of trying to figure out how to stay on track with that kind of stuff, and how to feel like I'm successful in the short term, even though, I'm not getting paid, and I'm not at the point yet where I'm getting booked on huge shows and that sort of thing. So I've just been trying to break it down into like, you're going to mics, and even when stuff isn't going well, if you bomb, or like a joke doesn't do well, that, oh, well, at least I got a laugh at this point and I can build on that. And just like the little things of, now I feel pretty good because I'm starting to get booked on things. And so it's a lot of reframing of, to be kind of a chronic like people pleaser and overachiever, to then have no one that can tell me, oh, you're doing good. Like there's just no governing body saying that I'm doing well. And that's been kind of a struggle.
So how do you hold yourself accountable? Because it sounds like, you're kind of, well, self-employed in a way. So, when you're self-employed, it ends on you at the end of the day, that you're responsible. You have to self-motivate. And that's honestly, that's not for everyone. It's really hard.
It is.
But the first thing you said is you realize you are a certain way and you have been driven by grades or by promotions or by, the weekly check-in with the boss, because that does hold you accountable. So being aware that you like that, how has the transition been for you? And do you have certain like guidelines that you go by to kind of put those on yourself now? Do you do like a weekly check-in with yourself, or like after every set? Like, what are some of the things you would suggest for people who are in similar shoes, not necessarily comedy, but, just to push yourself to reach your goal? Like, how would you frame that?
Yeah, I should definitely have some sort of weekly check-in with myself and some sort of accountability measure, which I don't at the moment. That's a good idea. But I would say I record I voice memo every set that I do, and I'll look back, and that's been super helpful in just figuring out how people respond to different parts of my joke, or the way I'm saying certain things. It definitely, because I've always recorded, but I haven't always been good at listening back and actually like actively thinking about the parts that went well and the parts that didn't. So that's been kind of, now that I've been in Chicago, that's been something I've been doing pretty regularly. And then I think I should do the weekly check-in, but sort of if I go a couple days without going to a mic, it'll kind of in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, well, you said you wanted to do this. You quit your job to do this. You told everybody you wanted to do this. You moved here to do this. So you need to go to a mic. Yeah, I think also trying improv has been a metric or a success in itself, of like trying something new that's very uncomfortable for me and very scary, which is interesting because a lot of people on the improv side think that stand-up is so much scarier. But
interesting.
When you bomb or a joke doesn't do well in stand-up, there's always a chance to do it again or like build on it. But in improv, like the whole thing is that it's one of one. And so I'm like, if this doesn't go well, I've wasted that. And now it's gone forever. And also, if a joke doesn't do well with stand-up, that's fine. Like when an improv scene doesn't go well, it's like, okay, now I've bombed and I'm also talking in a weird accent, or like I'm like pretending to be, a witch. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's so much worse. I'm like, someone just saw me like get no laughs while pretending to like make a potion.
Is improv more of a group sport?
Yeah, it is. It's more of a team effort.
So you're bringing other people down. If you don't do well, you're causing the team to lose.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Jeez, and Mom.
Oops.
I don't know. I've seen bad improv and I've seen bad stand-up, and bad improv is like, it's painful. And the thing about learning how to do it is like most of it is going to be bad at the beginning. So but it's been also a lot of fun. And I feel like it's helped me be like a little looser on stage with stand-up, and quicker to make connections about how I could build on a joke or expand it, because like improv is all about, listening to someone and elevating whatever decision they've made. And I think it's helped with writing on the stand-up side, of listening back to my joke and thinking of how it can be bigger, or how it can add more or connect different things to it, or even like with the transitions of joke. Because when you're doing a set, you're probably doing it's probably not going to be one 5-minute story. It's several parts. I think improv has helped with the transitions between jokes, or trying to figure out how to order my jokes to make it flow better. So I think overall, even if improv is just something I do for the next few classes, I think I'll get something out of it. And it's fun to kind of reconnect with kind of a child like play of like using your imagination and playing pretend. It's very, very weird to get back into that headspace, but it's been a lot of fun.
So is it kind of a mental space that you have to be in? Like, obviously you're using a certain part of your brain that you necessarily weren't using in economics. And, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. Improv scares the bejesus out of me, just the thought of it. So it's like, I wouldn't know where to start. So I'm just wondering, like, if it's, as you said earlier on in the interview, that it's using a certain part, it's an exercise of your brain and exercising a muscle. So is
Right.
it like going to these things? Are you just exercising this part of your brain? And now it's like you going to improv has opened it up even more. Does it feel like that?
So I took improv 1 and 2 online
Mm-hmm.
during the pandemic. I'm in class with all these people who have taken 1 and 2 right before.
Okay. Okay.
So I felt kind of like the first class. They've been doing this for 5 months now, back to back to back. And so they're kind of in the headspace, or they're in the
Mm-hmm.
practice
Mm-hmm.
of doing this. And so I think that initially was a little bit daunting, but then made it a lot, I think, easier to just kind of jump in, because I was like, oh, it's not actually embarrassing because we're all doing it and we're
Right.
all here to play make believe. So while maybe in the grand scheme of things, it's still kind of like a weird, quirky thing to be doing. Like in this room, we're all here with the common
Right.
thing. So it
Right.
made it easier to jump in and just be like, okay, whatever. Like we are witches and we're making a potion.
Does that open you up to being like okay to be vulnerable? Because I feel like when you're either doing stand up or improv or any of these types of things, you are just opening yourself up because you're putting yourself out there in a certain type of way
Right.
that's very vulnerable. So is it like, does it feel like you're just accepting this vulnerability and playing into it? I feel like there's a certain power to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And for sure with stand up, I'm very vulnerable in a lot of ways when I talk about my different things that have happened, or like talking about my body or talking about different experiences I've had. And that has always felt easier. Like I feel like I'm a pretty open person talking to my friends. We talk about everything. So even though it's like saying all those things to a room full of strangers, it's like a vulnerability that I was comfortable with.
Right.
This improv, I think, has taught me to be vulnerable in a different way of just like letting go of social norms of being an adult and just having fun and taking risks that and doing big things on stage that like might not pay off, and
Right.
that's okay. So I do definitely think it has helped me be vulnerable in that sort of way of just do it and see where it goes and say yes to what the other person has said. And I think it's helped me be a little more flexible because it is a team sport. You don't have
Right.
control over what the other person is saying. So
Right.
when you start a scene, you maybe have your own idea in your head about, oh, this is where I want it to go. I think this would be funny. And then the other person says something that derails that idea, and you just having to be like, yeah, we can do that. And so I think that's been cool part about that as well, of just like going with the flow. And I think that helps with crowd work, or like when you're doing stand up and someone heckles you or says something, it helps with, okay, going with the flow and figuring out how to address that. And then,
Right.
so yeah, I think stand up for sure is still my choice of comedy, but it's been interesting kind of exploring that side of things too.
Don't you think you really learned going with the flow from your mother?
Yeah.
Not. What's your writing process like?
Yeah. So I think for me, it's never, in terms of writing jokes for stand up, it's never really sitting down and writing out word for word everything I say. It's mostly just, I'll be on the train or on a walk and I'll have an idea. And then I'll kind of in my head think through of like how I would say it, or how I can take whatever I've observed or whatever idea I've had and make it like better for an audience. And then I just go to an open mic and try it. And then, like I said, I've been recording and you can listen and get a sense of how it went. And then either you do it a couple times and either you get a sense of like, oh, this is something I'm going to keep building on it, or like, this was just funny to me in my own head and we're not going to do it on stage anymore.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that mainly my writing process is just trying it out, recording it. So it's almost never really written past like a couple bullet points on a sheet of paper. But I know some people who like fully write out their jokes and then try it. So I think that is very individualistic of like people's preferences. But for me, it's always just been easier to try it verbally first.
You brought up heckling. And oftentimes Mary and I will ask our guests not about failure, but about challenges. So how do you overcome, it's not so much a failure, you know, if you've talked
Right.
you've talked about jokes that didn't land. You've talked about, and when you said heckling, that kind of reminded me, how do you personally handle that when like you have a bomb that completely just, or I'm sorry, a joke that completely bombs, or you actually have someone heckle you from the crowd? Like that takes a lot of guts, you know, just to handle that first off, because you're already putting yourself out there. You're already feeling somewhat vulnerable. So how do you overcome something like that? Do you like allow yourself to get down about it, or just like, you know, that didn't work, but I can build on it with X, Y, and Z? So how is
Right.
your methodology with that?
Yeah, I will say I mean, I'm not at the point where I get heckled that much. I'm doing like I've been on shows now, and that's been fun. And I was actually recently on a show at the Laugh Factory, which felt like
Oh,
very official.
yeah.
But I'm not getting heckled that much, and or if I do get heckled at like an open mic or something, it's not really like it'll be another comedian, and it's not really bad intention. So
Right.
I don't really even consider that heckling. But I want to be clear, I don't bomb that much. I'm talking about bombing a lot.
Yeah.
I don't. But no, it's mostly like it's uncommon that like a full set will bomb. Like there'll be jokes that you try that don't do well, or that sort of thing. But I find that it's pretty rare for any comedian who has self-awareness to like fully bomb, because they've tried their jokes before probably, and take feedback and know what works and what doesn't. But there are people who, it seems generally in every scene, I think there are people that don't have an ounce of self-awareness and who repeatedly bomb doing the same exact jokes all the time. So I think that's an important part of stand-up is listening to what the audience is responding to. Because at the end of the day, like, yes, you can have your own voice and tell jokes the way you want, but so you have power and autonomy that way, but you're only going to get booked or move like upward if people like it. And so you are kind of serving the audience, and you have to have them in mind. The other rule of like comedy is that you can't really blame the audience when a joke doesn't do well. Like it's always like when a comedian does that, it's always like, yeah, or maybe it's the joke kind of. But there are different rooms and different kinds of audience. So like sometimes something does well, and then sometimes it doesn't. And that's always the part that I get the most frustrated with, is like when I know a joke does well most of the time, and then I'll do it on a mic or a show and it doesn't go well. I find that frustrating, of having to like figure out what was different that time, or that sort of thing.
So Thorin, we're at the time.
Already?
This show must come to an end. Livy.
Yes.
2 questions. Is there anything about your mother or child? No, I'm kidding. The real question is, if you wanted to help someone move their Moxie needle a little bit, whether in comedy or life in general, to position themselves to take risks and live into your definition, what would you say to them?
I think it's just go for it. Whatever it is that you're wondering about, find a way to start doing it. Even because I think people take stand-up classes, and I don't think it's like the most useful thing in terms of becoming a good comedian. But I always say if it's the thing that gets you to start going to mics, then I think it's right. So I think if you're wanting to try something, you don't have to quit your job and move to a different city. There are ways to try whatever you want to do in small ways, and then build up to it. Or if it's just something you like to do for fun, it never has to move past that. But I think it's just not letting fear, or am I going to be good at it, or what will other people think, and just trying it. And I think that's been the thing that has served me most, is just like not being afraid to give something a try, even if, I'm doing it alone or I've never done it before. It's just give it a shot.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been so interesting to hear your points of view on it. And I think that's exactly what you said, that it doesn't have to be a lifelong or, dramatic change, but just to try, I think is the messaging that's so valuable for everyone to realize they have the power to do that.
Yep. And your goals around it can change. And it doesn't always, it's very static, and it's not a static thing. So yeah. But thank you so much for having me on.
Well, thank you, Livy. We love you.
Love you too.
It's the first time we ended an episode like that.
I know, exactly.
I'm so blown away by Olivia. She really inspired me in so many ways. I know you're preening over there. You're so proud. You should be. But I'm blown away by her courage to just like go and do the damn thing. How are you feeling?
If you had told me that my daughter was going to end up on stage, I can remember in her high school years at Millbrook having to do public presentations on a project.
Right.
And her just getting twisted up in knots about public speaking. And now to see her comfort up on the stage. But the thing that I think this is going to resonate with you, that really drew me in was the episode we did with Kathy Davies and Bill Johnson, both of them on their respective life design. And I just love how Olivia has started taking baby steps, has reframed her experiences, has taken failure as information to improve, and has prototyped her way forward in taking small steps that are low cost, low risk, low stakes, and building on those to create something larger. And I think that is a really important life lesson for everyone. So what was your take?
Well, to build on what you just said, one of the things that has always stuck with me since we interviewed Kathy over a year ago was when she said that you're not alone, you're not an island. And Olivia spoke about that quite a bit because she's like, Facebook is a great place. There are groups everywhere. You know, the comedy world is a small one. You know, you can just Google it. And like when she moved from New York down to Charlotte and reached out to someone and, you know, just started networking and asking questions and, you know, just trying to get immersed in it, it kind of reinforces what Kathy was saying, that it's just, you know, you can ask someone for a cup of coffee to talk about what they're doing, you know, to get a connection. And I think that's something that's so valuable that we have to forget when we're pursuing something or we get stuck in our heads about it, that we are not alone. We can do this. And there's people like to help. They are, you know, they like to help and teach you or, you know, pass down what they've learned and their mistakes and, you know, advise people. So I think that was something that was also a big takeaway, but just how she also ended when we asked her to do, you know, give advice and to take those steps and not be afraid to do so. And I think also she's inspirational in how she literally just went after her dream. You know, she set in place through a couple of years, tried things out and experimented and, you know, put together her own shows too. And, you know, booked comedians. And I mean, that takes a lot of courage to do, besides the fact of getting up there and being, you know, opening yourself up to being vulnerable. I mean, I could never do that. So I admire her so much for so many things that she has done. And now she's, you know, trying it out for real in Chicago, trying to live the dream. And it's just so admirable. And I think there's so many parts of her story that can resonate with everyone in some fashion. And sometimes it's hard to gain that momentum. So I liked how Olivia throughout was talking about like her steps to do it, but, you know, she made it so approachable too. You know, you go with a friend to a club, or you know, get into or you get into like a Facebook group and start chatting with people. And then all of a sudden you see you have mutual friends in common, or you have mutual connections. So you can start a separate conversation and build on a relationship that gets you somewhere else. But she, you know, going just to a show and then signing up for a minute or 3 minute, you know, show herself to try it out. Anyone could do that in any part of life in a way. And I think that's something that we, as you were just saying before, we get so stuck in our heads about it. So I think, you know, her drive to push out of that, even though she admitted that she's, you know, skill oriented and grade oriented. So now she's in a very different way to be self-motivated, but she's still doing it. And I think that's so important to, you know, be aware of yourself. But what's the ultimate goal? What's the pie in the sky? And what are the small steps to reach that? And we talked with Elaine about that in the last episode, about the small steps. I can run to the stop sign. And next time I'm going to run to the next stop sign. So it's about building upon, you know, one step at a time. And, you know, but having that end goal in mind, whether or not you reach it. And if you don't reach it, that's okay too, because you've gone on a journey to, and that journey has brought you maybe somewhere else. And that's okay too. So I think Olivia spoke about a lot of different things that each and every one of us can take something from.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad you indulged me to have my daughter as guest. It was very special. And we'll see you the next time.
We will. And good luck on the next show, Olivia. This episode is proudly sponsored by Main Street Magazine.